Yeah, so I think the thing that we both missed just now was Sorry I Didn't Know, which is actually live. So talk to everyone a little bit about what Sorry I Didn't Know is.
Yep. So Sorry I Didn't Know. It's a it's a comedy panel show. It's hosted by Jimmy Akimbola. The production company who produced the show are Triforce Creative Network, and it's crewed by Dandy, who is owned by Minnie Ayres and Fraser Ayres. So the show was initially piloted in 2016. It's a panel show, like maybe QI or one of those kind of shows, but it's all based around Black history. So it kind of makes light, and it brings comedy and entertainment around some of the stuff we know or don't know about Black history.
Yeah.
The kind of thing that maybe if it were ancient Romans or Greeks, we might have learned at school, but we haven't learned it at school in Black history. And then some really key figures that have done amazing stuff, but we are not made aware of it. So it enlightens us, but it also gives us an opportunity to learn and have, where was jollof rice originally made from? And we know that Ghanaians and Nigerians make a lot of noise, and you find out it was actually Senegal. And so there's a lot of joke and banter and back and forth. So it's a really kind of like fun show. We did the first series. We had the first series commissioned in 2020, and series 2 2021, series 3 this year, which is currently airing, which is on air now throughout October. So it's had commissions during October for the past few years, and it's a short, sharp entertainment show. So it's about 22.5 minutes long. Team captain, so Jimmy Akimbola is your host. Seasons 1 and 2, Judy Love and Chizzy Akadulu were the team captains. Season 3, Judy wasn't available, so Eddie Caddy stepped in. Eddie's been fantastic as well. He's been a great addition to it. So they're team captains. And then there's a series of comedians who come on as guests, or some personalities who come on as guests as well. Some from the stand-up circuit, some TV personalities and stuff as well. Some kind of like a sporting greats. We've had Colin Jackson. We've had people like White Yardie. You've had people like Babatunde. So and then you've also got some, like we've had like Tom Allen on it as well. We've had Russell Kane on it as well. So you get a real kind of like balance of people, but it's based around Black comedy. Black history. Sorry.
And could you share offhead like one of the funniest moments in the show?
There's a lot, man. Do you know, it's difficult to pinpoint an exact moment, and I don't want to spoil it. I don't need to do any spoilers, but what I'd say is that, like Eddie Caddy, his whole comedy, cause he brings something new to the show. So for me, it's great when he comes in. He brings something new to the show, and his comedy isn't just what he says; it's what he does, and it's how he moves and that kind of stuff. And I think you get a lot of that in this series, which is another added layer to what we already have, which is great. So I think a lot of that kind of stuff really adds in, and I think how he kind of bounce off with Chizzy and Jimmy and that kind of stuff works really well as well. So I can't pick out one specific moment, but I think there's lots to look forward to.
Okay, that is amazing. And what, just in terms of pushing it, where is it on? What time can people watch it?
It's on ITV1. It's Sundays. It's 10:20 p.m.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're going to take a slightly different route in conversation now and talk a bit more about the granular stuff to how do you become a multi-camera director, because I think for my own knowledge, when I think of a director, I just think of like it's like an umbrella term, and everybody that's a director kind of does similar things. But I think multi-camera directing is a very different skill set. And I think it would be good to talk about that skill set in light of the Commonwealth Games. So you directed the Commonwealth Games closing ceremony, which took place in July?
The closing ceremony was in August. Beginning of August this year.
Okay, so talk me through it from the beginning. How do you decide what that ceremony actually involves? Do you look at obviously I'm mindful that you do lots of research on what the previous ceremonies have looked like, etc. How do you decide on who the performances are, the order of the show, what happens, talk me through it, like as granular as would be helpful to someone who is interested in also becoming a multi-camera director.
Okay, yeah, cool. So I guess it might help just to go slightly one step back and just kind of explain the role of it, because I think a lot of the time the role of the multi-camera director can be slightly muddied, let's say, and I think there's a spectrum of where that role is. Sometimes you'll have a multi-camera director who's also an exec producer who's also a creative director. So when it comes to what is the show, what does it look like, what's involved and who's in it, a lot of that will actually come down to the creative directors.
Okay.
So you have a creative directing team who will come up with the concept. So even before that, a production company will win the brief and say, listen.
Oh, is that how it comes about?
So you're going to be like, right, the Commonwealth Games are going to be in which city, and a particular city win it, and then it's going to be like which production companies are going to produce it. So production companies will come up with a concept or a vision for it, and they'll pitch for it. Various production companies will pitch for it, and one or maybe a co-production will take it. So in this instance, you had Birmingham Ceremonies, you had Done and Dusted. They win the pitch, and then that will often be that could be like 2 years before. They already know they're going to be in it, so they've got to start thinking about, right, what's this going to look like? What do we want to represent? Because you'll have a teaser of the next Commonwealth Games in the previous Commonwealth Games. So, for example, the last one, which was in Sydney, at the very end, you had a tribute to Birmingham, and you had some of the artists, and you had some of what Birmingham's going to be about, giving people a flavour of what that's going to be about. So you're working on that beforehand, and you're really getting a sense of what you're trying to kind of get across. I think in this it was kind of like all about displaying Birmingham's of what it is, a great city of kind of like great people, great energy, multicultural diversity through the years, through the time, and illustrating how the Commonwealth has helped Birmingham be what it is today, and I guess the impact from different cultures within Birmingham, and how all of those come together and are part of that, an important part of that city. As a multi-camera director, we come on board after that process.
Got you.
So after they've decided, right, this is what the narrative is. This is the kind of what we're trying to do. Then it's like, okay, so how are we gonna shoot it? So we'll work very closely. So for me, with Commonwealth Games, the first thing for me, I had 2 creative assistants. So Jordan Pitt and Eddie Melbourne, my 2 creative assistants. They worked on it throughout. With me throughout, and it just meant that we could be really close with the creative directing team and Toolbox on this, who it means we could go to all of the rehearsals, see what they're trying to do, what they're trying to build, who's going to be dancing, how many they're going to be, the scale. Because bearing in mind, that happens at the Alexander Stadium in Birmingham, but that's also where the actual Commonwealth Games are happening. Right. So it means it's not like we could go in there and practice.
Yeah.
Because the Commonwealth Games are happening here. Commonwealth Games ends and the closing ceremony is the next day. So it's not like we can even rehearse the day before.
There's no time for that.
And then the day, we have to build.
Yeah.
It's not like we can just, all right, it's ended, now you can go and practice. You've got to build the set. So you don't get to practice in the actual place, ever. You've got to use pre-vises, you're using images, you're working with your production design team, obviously the production team, your broadcast team, your tech team, to ensure that cameras are the right lenses, you can shoot the right thing from the right distance, the colours are right, the lighting's going to work. What way are people going to face in? You've got to work with your lighting team so that if you're going to face east for one performance and west for the lighting, so that the light's on the right person in the right place in the right place at the right time. What areas of the stage you're using, how many dancers there are going to be, you're working with sound, so there's so many different elements to what happens, which happens over months. Like we were kind of like really involved for 3 to 4 months, starting to really first of all piece that narrative and then dissecting each element of it, how it's going to work together, like technically, and even like when you've got something which is an event meets broadcast. Obviously you've got 35,000 people in the stadium, but you're obviously broadcasting live to
how many?
Close to a billion worldwide. There's that balance because you have to put cameras in places, but that means you have to lose some seats or people aren't going to be able to see. So there's always it means that you can't maybe fully get as many people in the stadium, although everybody wants to be in the stadium. It's not going to happen again there, maybe ever, or in people's life. So there's always a bit of back and forward, and you've got a lot of kind of close conversation between the event production and the broadcast production. Okay. And
so you two are like, you go hand in hand in these types of processes.
And that's the key thing with the director, the multi-camera, because all of these, the director, whilst the director is I guess the glue. That person, the glue, the central hub in all of this when it comes to delivering it on the day. You have a kind of like event runner or event director who's kind of like keeping on top of, or like a show caller, who's keeping on top of, okay, next this is happening, next this is happening. But in terms of how we shoot it, how we run it, and what everybody sees, that's what the director is responsible for. Work closely with an AD. So again, I'll have an AD, Hayley, who was superb. And it means that I don't have to be constantly talking. while we're live. Like we'll meet beforehand. We'll have planned it. I'll have scripted certain elements of it. Every camera will have their roles. Lighting know what they're doing. I've had all of those conversations beforehand.
Yeah.
So now I can watch. Now I can steer. Now I can make sure that we're doing things creatively how we want to do it. And then it's a big collaborative effort. But yeah, something like that is a real beast, and I'd say for me it's the pinnacle of multi-camera directing when you're doing something like that.
Yeah.
More so than any other type of thing, because it, like I say, it's live. It's got all of those elements in it. You got one chance to get it right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what is so admirable about the live entertainment industry. Is for that reason you have one chance to get it right. How does that affect your nerves? How do you mentally prepare for that feeling and that fact, which is I have one chance to get this right?
I go into these shows and before the show I do the absolute maximum preparation I can possibly do. I don't leave any stone left unturned. There is always going to be things I can't control. Those I just have to deal with, and I have to do the best that I can. But everything that I can control, I'll make sure that I've got a plan for it, and I'll try and ensure that everybody knows what they're doing. Ultimately, if all of my departments are comfortable with what they need to be doing, and they don't have any questions, or they don't have any concerns, cameras, light, text, graphic, then I'm comfortable. And then we just got to deliver. But then it's about just making sure you've got the right people in the right positions, playing the right positions. Because that's what we're here. That's what we're in the game for. We're in a game of results. So you pick a team that you could be confident can deliver, and then you got to put trust in that team.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I'm not holding a camera. I'm not holding any lights. I'm not doing any favours. I can't do anything about that. I just need to make sure they've got the information they need and get the best out and help get the best out of their team, and almost facilitate sometimes. I think a lot of the time I try and make sure I'm providing a service to my crew. I try and make sure that they got any problems, like, we need more information here, or we could do you think we can move, do you think sound can move this mic here so we can get this light here? Then it's a lot about that. A lot about facilitating that and ensuring, what do we gain by this? What do we lose by this? So we can get to that happy place where everybody can do what they're doing.
Yeah. And for something like the Commonwealth Games closing ceremony, how many cameras are you looking at?
So with the Commonwealth Games closing, we ended up with 20, including a helicopter.
Okay.
So we had helicopter, we ended up, we were due to have a drone as well, but we ended up having to kind of like drop that at the last minute. It just didn't quite have the reliability with the signal that we wanted. But yeah, we use an array of cameras for that as well. So we had like a tower, and we put 2 remote cameras in a tower, so that while people are pushing the tower up, we could see it from the perspective of the top of the tower.
Yeah. Oh wow.
But from the viewer perspective at home, they don't see a camera sticking out of that. So we put two of those cameras in, and then we've got obviously cameras on long lenses that are far back but can shoot really tight, so that we can see our main artist performing. And then we kind of have wider cameras which are on the ground level, so you feel like you're part of the crowd. But it shows the scale of the event. Then we have a high angle kind of like master wide, so you can actually see, wow, this stadium has got full of people and that as well. And it's a case of kind of like piecing all of that together throughout the different performances, ensuring we've got range, ensuring it's dynamic, we've got movement on it. And yeah, ensuring you've got the right people in those roles.
In the right places. I think that's a key thing, and I think that's a transferable message for anywhere and in any industry, and for anybody who's in a position of leadership or like strives to be in a position of leadership, knowing that having the right people in the right places is truly like one of the keys to success in a lot of spaces. How does that differ from the global citizen?
So global citizen, there are some similarities, but it's a different beast. So first of all, the global citizens, it was in Accra, in Ghana.
First time in Africa?
First time, it was my first time in West Africa. I've worked in South Africa before, but yeah, I'd never been to West Africa. And it's different.
Yeah.
It's different. I think people fantastic, like really warm, really kind of really passionate about what they do, really hard working, really willing to help, also to learn.
Yeah.
Made them really easy to work with, and I'll definitely go back and do more stuff in Ghana for sure.
Yeah.
What I would say is naturally over here we're blessed in that there are a lot of events that happen all of the time. So if you've got like a huge amount of people who are used to doing high profile, big scale events that you have to get right that time,
Yeah.
and they do that regularly. So it means when we talk about having the right people in the right places, it's easier to do that over here. When you go to somewhere like Ghana, where those type of events don't happen all the time, live at that scale, and like obviously with Global Citizen, we had Usher headlining it, we had Stormzy over, we had SZA. You've got high-profile artists who are also used to
that
stuff
happening
at high level
at home
all of the time. Literally, like, you know what I mean? Usher's been at the top of the game for 25 years. It's normal for him to be working correctly. For us, it's like, okay, how do we ensure that we can deliver that same level, working with the local people in Ghana at the same time, who maybe don't have the same experiences, maybe don't have the same skill set, but have that willingness to learn. And it's a balance. Because yes, we're going to need to bring some people over from the UK. We're going to need to bring some resources over from the UK. But if you're going to bring in every light, every camera, every lens, every person from the UK to go, you might as well do it in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point in going to these places if we're not going to embrace the people, some of the resources, some of the facilities they have.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, so there's a combination, and that's across all departments. So yeah, I guess the first thing is, part of my crew, like about 40% of my crew, 45% of my crew were local. Certainly my camera crew, as well as the other departments as well.
Yeah.
So then normally I know that, right, I know exactly which camera operator is going to be on what camera, because I know that's what they're great at.
Yeah.
With this, I don't really know what I don't know what the Ghanaian guys are best at.
Yeah.
So again, I have a couple of calls to them, and I'll ask them.
Yeah.
And again, as is the case with a lot of people who are, I guess, in situations where they don't have a specific type of show all the time. They might do sport one week, they might do a sports game, they might do a TV show.
Yeah.
You do lots of different roles. So naturally they're saying, oh, we'll do any role. We're happy to do whatever you need. And I'm like, it's lovely to have. But it really did, it was like, right, how do I figure out what these people are great at? And again, some of it is a bit of a gamble.
Yeah.
You've kind of got to say, okay, what kind of energy am I getting? Who seems really excited when I talk about the handheld camera? Who seems really excited when we talk about the tracking camera? And that's what I was trying to get at. For me, it became less about how much can I see their CV and their skills. It's more about who seems excited by this, who seems hungry to do this role, who's really giving me that confidence that they really want to maximise on this position. Yeah. And it was a case of trying to pick people from that really, and then build that around the people that I knew and my team, and I think we got a good balance. And we had some really good feedback from the local guys, and again it worked in similar to that across all of the other departments.
Yeah. And how do you go about, just to go back, how do you go about that recruitment process? Is that something that you do? Is that something that another team does that kind of brings in the local talent? Because I know from here that's quite an easy transition, but from a local point of view, who goes about?
Yeah, so you'd have a local. Again, sometimes sometimes the role is a project manager. Sometimes the role is event creative or event director. Like I can't remember what the name. It might have been a project manager who's local and does events in Ghana all of the time to some degree. So when those artists perform and they have their own concerts, so there are people who do those concerts in Ghana, and so he'll put forward some operators, and then I'll ask, can I see their CVs? Can I see an idea of what they've done?
Yeah.
And then and then I'll ask, I'll ask for a call. So then production team will set up a call with me and the crew, and then we go through that way. And then I'm like, yeah, they all seem good. And then it's about me kind of deciding how I'm going to utilise them and how we're going to put them in. I'll talk with my camera supervisor as well in London, who I work with all the time. Yeah. And we'll kind of like look at where best to place the team. We go have a few conversations, go back and forward, because it's like, if for example this guy's like, my best role is a handheld operator, but I know that I'm bringing a specialist handheld operator from London. Yeah. Do I take my guy from London, who I know is great, so that this guy who says he's great and he's very comfortable in that can do it, and then my guy who can do okay in other roles does that? Yeah. Or do I do the opposite and make sure that my guy who's the best at that does that, and put this guy on something that maybe he hasn't said he's great at, but he's said he's willing to do? So there's a lot of those kind of conversations, and really fine tuning it to ensure that yeah, just ensure you can deliver it.
Yeah, and that conversation goes on for how long? Is that the type of conversation that happens at the beginning of the process?
So I'll generally make a initial plan that day of what I think. So I'll have a call and I'll say, right, this is what I think we should do. That's my thinking, and I'll have a chat with my camera supervisor. But I want him to critique it. I want him to kind of maybe think of something I've not thought of.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, it might be, you know what, I think that's right. Maybe we want to switch these two. Then we might ponder for a couple of days, and then might have a follow-up call.
Yeah.
And it might be like, okay, yeah, let's switch these two. This is that. We've got this lens here, so we'll switch these two. I think my initial kind of like lineup was pretty much there, and I think we end up changing one or two, just switching them around. A couple of days before the actual show, so when we got to rehearsals, just before rehearsals, and then what we did on rehearsals, we did on the day. So,
yeah, amazing. So that happened. Rehearsal ended up being like a carbon copy of what actually happened on the day. What's it like working with international talent?
I enjoy it. I think everybody has a slightly different approach. You have like you've got like when you've got big stars like Usher and that, he'll obviously have a creative team himself, so he'll know, and his team will know exactly, generally, how they're going to line up. They'll have thought carefully about exactly what they want to do, where he's going to arrive, where he's going to stand, where he's going to be for each part of the performance. Then when we get on a call, they'll also recognise that my creative vision on it has to tie in with theirs. If they're really specific, they definitely need to bring me into that conversation. Yeah. Because I'm going to be one executing on the day. Yeah. What was great is that they're open to kind of like, well, how about we do this? And I'm going to get this camera to follow. We're going to circle around him. Then we're going to end up there. And it's like, oh yeah. And then we can do this. So I'll understand what they want to achieve, what beats they want to hit. Then I'll start talking about how we're going to achieve that, and maybe add a little bit to it. Add some thoughts. Really good dialogue between the two. Get to rehearsal, see it for the first time. Now they might, obviously with big artists, you might say, you know what, I think we should change the track. So then, and that happens all the time, and we're ready for that. But it's great. Like for me, I kind of really enjoy that. And what's great is that you know you're getting a level. Even in rehearsals, you get someone like us where he walks on stage really dancing. Yes. You know you're getting a performance from the start. And it's like when someone's performing that well, it's about the talent. You know your work is just elevated. Yeah. When you're getting that level of performance. Yeah. And I think with the Ghanaian artists, what was great is that they also had like even some they were very much into like they had some great dancers, great local dancers on their performances. I think like you had Sarkodie had dancers, you had Jackie who had dancers and singers, and they've got an idea of how they want to set up. I think naturally, I think they're a lot. I wouldn't say they're more free, but there's less kind of like less. They might have an idea of how they want to start a performance, and then it's like, listen, we're just going to go with how we feel it, and I think that's a different energy too. Yeah. And I think and it's not that you can't like you international artists don't do that as well. Yeah. But for me, it gave you something different. You had someone like even someone like Stoneboy. He opened the show. They were very like he was opening the whole show. It was important that he had some sort of entrance. So we kind of like,
on the horse, right?
Yeah, we went back and forward with a few ideas. It was like, well, listen, this is, and again, it's like creative ambition. Can we achieve it technically? Can we achieve it creatively? And then does it get over the health and safety and risk assessment side of stuff as well? All these little elements to it. Yeah. So the horse was one where we managed to get there, and we managed to get right. This kind of meets with all the different stuff, because you could go really crazy. I want to flying in on some.
That's what I'm.
Do you know what I mean?
Let me fly in, land, and be like Michael Jackson and stand for.
It's like most things are possible. Yeah. But there's when you take into kind of budget, rehearsal time, resources, allowance, risk, then certain things quickly get sifted off. But even the horse, there's an element of risk with that.
Yeah. What if the horse goes mad?
Yeah.
And it's live.
Right, exactly. You don't know, and you don't have a lot of time to get to know the horse.
No.
Go out for a drink and.
How does did he have lessons on horse riding before? Like, how did he just got told how to like hold the reins and ensure the horse doesn't do like a
so there's a handler with it as well. So if you go on a horse ride, and you go horseback riding, as you call it, States or whatever. There might be a handler who's kind of like had it, and then that you're on the back. So that's how it was. Okay. And then it was like, well, why don't we get the dancers standing either side? Why don't we get the Ghanaian flags either side? And we turn this into like a grand entrance, arriving on a horse, and we have the band playing at the same time. Yeah. And we're like, okay, we're hearing the Stoneboy. It hasn't kicked in, but we're hearing the music. Yeah. He's arriving. So we're meeting him, and I was like, that kind of worked really well. But then as soon as he gets on stage, he's doing what he likes. Like, he's doing what he likes, man. If he'd done a rehearsal and he went left on the show, he might go right.
Yeah.
Like, and that's great, and that's part of it as well. Like, you go with it, you go with the energy that you feel on the day, and I think the crowd really kind of like lent to that as well. So you had different types of performances. Stormzy, who can do the kind of like the Usher side of stuff, he went more on the like the Ghanaian artist for this one. And he was like a bit like a homecoming.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm just going with the energy. I'm just gonna feel it. There were certain tracks I knew that right, he's gonna go down here.
Yeah.
But he kept it kind of quite free as well, which worked really well. And it does often work well for these festivals as well.
Yeah, no, that sounds, it sounds electric. In all fairness, it absolutely sounds electric.
The energy was mad.
Yeah, it sounds electric.